This is the Super Sabre Society Video of the Month. Okay, well, we're in the unbelievable Litchfield Park home of Don Rebtoy, and we've got Don Rebtoy and Dick Pietro, an old guy and a young guy in the F-100 business. So I'm going to talk to them a little bit about their careers in the F-100. Don, how in the world did you get in the world of flying when you had all this experience in automobiles that is all around your house?
Well, I was in the ROTC, and I figured that would be a good way to get away and fly airplanes, and sure enough, I did.
Where'd you go to pilot training?
It was Moultrie, Georgia. Flew the T-34 and T-28, then went to, let's see, somewhere to fly the T-33. And then after that, it was the 84 F at Luke, and then the F-100A at Nellis, F-100D in France.
Ah, that's great. Great start to career. Dick, you're a much younger guy, and you had a nefarious background.
Thank you. You want me to tell you my background?
Yeah, exactly, because nobody could tell the story like you can.
Well, I know Hoppy thinks I can tell.
Army background, for gosh sake.
Well, I did. At 17 years old, I joined the Army. Spent 2 years on active duty, trained in artillery, infantry, paratrooper, became one of the early Green Berets, we now call Special Ops. And after my active duty tour in the Army, I got out and went into the Army National Guard to help pay my way through college. So I spent some time in the Army Guard, spent some time in the Army Reserve, and then ended up in the Air National Guard, and that's how I got into the flying business.
Yeah, so you went to pilot training with the Springfield, Ohio unit, is that right?
No, I went to the, with the Atlantic City, New Jersey Guard. I went to Willie in 1966, and combat crew training right here at Luke in, the end of 66, beginning of 67.
So what were the early years like in the 100, Don? I mean, we hear all the stories about it being a dangerous airplane, blah, blah, blah. So how did you find it?
Well, I thought it was pretty exciting. At Nellis, with the A model, screaming across the lake when you could smell the water in the cockpit, and up over Boulder Dam and out into Grand Canyon.
Yeah, of course, that was legal back in those days, right? Yeah.
Today you'd get court-martialed.
Yeah, you know the statute of limitations isn't over yet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the other thing that was really chancy was chasing trucks on the interstate. Made great practice targets.
Yeah, great. So now, did you go? You went overseas in the 100?
Yes.
Where to?
France, Etienne, and flew the F-100D and F. And came back and continued to fly out of Cannon Air Force Base, and that was a round-the-world tour there. Yeah, now
those were the rotation days, the TAC road days, and also the nuclear alert day. Did you set nuclear alert in France?
I did. I set, well, they wouldn't let us have our nuke weapons in France, so we had to do it in Germany at Spangdahlem.
And then route-wise, you went all over the world.
Yes.
Okay. So, Dick, now you're in the F-100 through combat crew training. How did you end up getting to Vietnam and become a combat aviator?
While I was at Luke, the Air National Guard was activated. All those Guard units were activated. My unit, the New Jersey Guard, was activated and sent to Myrtle Beach. And I decided that I was a brand new pilot. If I went to Myrtle Beach, I'd end up being base ops officer or something similar to that. So I actually called the National Guard Bureau and had a friend, and I told him I wanted to volunteer to go to Vietnam, and I reported to Myrtle Beach, and a week later I had orders to join the 174th TAC Fighter Squadron at Phuket.
So that was from Springfield?
That was...
The 174th?
Sioux City, Iowa.
Sioux City, Iowa. Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking Springfield.
I went from Atlantic City to Sioux City.
Okay, got it. Well, you would have made a lousy base ops officer.
No kidding.
It's a good thing. So, Don, how did you get into combat?
Well, the first entry into it was a TDY attack Lee in F-100s, the first fighter aircraft to go to Thailand, and then later a one-year tour at Benoit, followed by in the A-7s supporting Myrtle Beach at Karat, Thailand, and was asked if I wanted to be the commander of the 3rd Attack Fighter Squadron, and certainly wanted to do that. And so I went back to Louisiana to go through the course they had for the A-7, which was escorting the helicopters to pick up pilots, down pilots, and then went back for the one-year tour there. And I was also there at the very bitter, probably the last combat in the Maguas incident, found the crew.
So we're going to talk to you now. We got you to Vietnam. How did you go about losing the war for us over there, Dick?
I lost the war. I arrived at Phuket. Somehow I hitched a ride up from Saigon, and at the bottom of the steps of the airplane was Colonel Leroy J. Manor, who welcomed me to Phuket. And I said, well, this is going to be a good deal. So he took me over and introduced me to the Sioux City, Iowa Guard that had just recently lost one of their pilots. And I, for that year, flew 122 missions, most of which were in Laos. In fact, 100 of the 122 were in Laos. And it was a terrific tour.
So what was the gunfire and the AAA and stuff like at that time in Laos?
It was mostly all small arms fire, but we had a lot of 35 millimeter and some...
37 millimeter.
I'm sorry, 37 millimeter, correct. And it was not uncommon to come back with small arms fire, bullet holes in the airplane and things like that. But I only left one airplane there at the Chu Lai Marine Corps base. And the Marines hated me because I shut down the runway for a full day. Other than that, very few incidents that were dangerous.
Yeah. So Don, you went over in the 100 out of Thailand. You came back in the A-7. Did you just come back for the Mayaguez time, or did you also fly for an extended period in the A-7 over there?
Flew for a very short time in the A-7 during combat. It was very near the end of the war, and we had left Vietnam, the country. We still had airplanes in Thailand.
Well, there is a rumor that you went R&R to Australia while you were there, and rather than use the R&R for the purpose designated, you went to see car guys in Australia, car club. Is that right?
That's true. Well, when we went into the hotel, they had a long line, and the Aussies wanted to know what you would like to do while you're R&R there. And I asked if there was a car club in town, and nobody had ever asked him that question. And they said they'd give me a call, and sure enough, I got a call in my room, and they said, there's a meeting tonight here in town, and they'll pick you up in front of the hotel.
Oh my God.
At 7 o'clock, and so I went to the car club meeting.
Well, that's one way to use your R&R in Australia for sure.
There's more to the story.
Well, we'll get that. Dick, so Vietnam is over. We lost. What did you do after the war?
I came back to the Jersey Guard. We flew our airplanes back from Phuket to Sioux City. And I was immediately reattached to the New Jersey Guard in Atlantic City. And I ferried airplanes actually out to Tucson when they were transitioning from the Deuce back to the 100. I brought a few airplanes out to Tucson and stayed in the Guard for quite a while. Hired by Eastern Airlines in 1970 and spent total of 14 years of active duty and guard.
All right, well, it's good careers, both of you. Don, we'll have to finish your story about Australia at the bar, but you ended up being what'd you do after you retired?
I flew Lear 25 for a short period of time, but it was like it was before. I was gone all the time, and it didn't permit me to work on cars, which I wanted to do, and also put this house back together. And so I just played with cars.
Well, if you ever get a chance to visit Don's house in Litchfield Park, you will be absolutely amazed. It's a story unto itself. All right, you two guys flew at an interesting time. You flew combat, and both of you are well regarded. So what message do you have for the kids today in the changed world and the changed Air Force, Dick?
I truly wish that the Air Force is totally different, of course, and I think that it's the world itself has changed, the attitude has changed, the code of conduct has changed. I wish them the best because the last fighter pilot has been born.
Yeah, not an easy life out there. How about you, Don? What message for the kids?
Well, I think that the Air Force, and I tell this to my granddaughter, I've recommended that she go to the Air Force Academy. And I had to explain that she doesn't have to fly airplanes. There's many other jobs that can be done. And I think that with the advent of the F-35, that if you want to fly the world's best and finest aircraft, the place to be is in the United States Air Force.
Well, I tell you, both of you guys were in the Air Force and the airplanes and flying at a real historic time. And we all appreciate what you've done. We appreciate you being in the Super Sabre Society to preserve our legacy. And again, if you ever get a chance to visit Don's house in Litchfield Park, stop by. Thank you both very much.